Do you ever feel dread bringing up a sensitive topic to discuss with your partner? I had a woman approach me with this problem. It was paralyzing to her, actually. She really wanted to express how she was feeling. She felt like things were not quite right in the relationship, and not in a big way, like little stuff, but she was so petrified of actually bringing it up to her partner. And there were a couple of nuances that were um, getting her stuck in this place of feeling dread. So I just wanted to discuss these nuances because I know that a lot of people experience this. So the first thing, and the most obvious thing, was that she felt dread, she felt fear bringing things up to her boyfriend because he would be a little not nice in his response. So when she would bring up that there's something that she wants to talk about and try to talk about it with him, he would come back with slightly condescending uh, responses, or bothered, annoyed responses. And so she felt like, ouch, like, uh-oh, it's getting worse. So one the first thing is emotional safety and the feeling like, um, well, also commitment, that your partner, you and your partner are both so interested in being with each other that you want to talk things through. That's one thing. And then number two, along the same lines, that you both feel that you both prioritize talking about things in such a way that you're okay to show up doing so in a gentle way with each other. So part of what was going on there was that he was feeling bothered by her, and he was sending her little emotional torpedoes wrapped in words that were saying, "Leave me alone. I don't like what you're doing." So that actually needs some deeper unraveling, because he could be reacting to something that she could be projecting onto him and saying, I feel lacking inside, and I need to fix it by fixing you and fixing our relationship. And if that's where someone's coming from when they want to talk about something, they're going to get a negative response from their partner. So it's quite a thing to unravel, right? What is my stuff? What is your stuff when we're working through relationship stuff? And that's why it's so complicated. But the other element that I want to bring up that sets a person up for feeling dread, and she had this going on too, is the emotional attitude, which you may or may not be aware of inside yourself, that the relationship is a source of comfort for you. You know, I'm reminded of what feels like biblical wisdom, even though I'm not, uh, I've read through the Gospels, but that's about it for my Bible study. But from that corner of wisdom, I have this feeling of this straight and narrow path. And the straight and narrow path is prioritizing alignment with divine love inside yourself as your source of comfort and your source of guidance. We may carry that value, but not act it out, not be able to hold that value in all areas. And that's one of the gifts, again, of relationship, is that it it tests us deeply. It gets in there where our self-worth is and where our sense of love is, or idea of love is. And it pulls us off balance if we are able to be pulled off balance. So it's a good thing when relationship triggers us and pulls pulls us off balance is showing us where we believe things about ourselves and about reality that are preventing us from harvesting the amazing fruits of the straight and narrow path of prioritizing alignment with divine love, comfort from divine love, and guidance from divine love. So, when it comes to feeling dread about discussing things with our partner, like what this woman experienced, that points to that we are looking at the relationship as a source of comfort ahead of the alignment with divine love inside. Because there she is feeling off inside herself. And she wants to talk about it with her boyfriend, but she's afraid to because there's too many layers of reaction to her circumstances and her ideas about her circumstances that are causing her to get out of alignment with herself. And in her case, she did not show signs that she knew what alignment was like yet, which is another factor. If you don't know how to feel divine love, or you haven't had that experience, you don't know that, you don't know what the alternative is to this crazy world of pinball, basically. Because that inner comfort with divine love energy is, it's like a mooring. When we tie ourselves to it, I don't mean in the sense of bondage, but when we key into it, then there's peace and stillness in the midst of this crazy world. When we don't know what that mooring is like, then we're just lost inside a pinball machine, and we're bouncing off of things, and we're trying to figure out how to feel comfort in this crazy world of bouncing off of things. And so that's where you definitely end up feeling dread talking about sensitive things with your partner, because you're part of pinball, part of human pinball, is looking to relationships for the comfort that they provide, because we're looking for comfort in a place where we don't know where to find it. Whereas when we feel that interconnection with divine love energy, we know, okay, I don't have to be a pinball machine in this, or I don't have to be a pinball in this pinball machine of a world. There is a deep peace that I can rest in. So when we actually care about that deep peace more than anything else, it gives us the courage to discuss sensitive things with our partner, because we would rather sort that out and bring it back to peace than live with it the way it is. And if bringing that back to peace means breaking up with our partner, fine. That's how much we care about inner peace and peace in the relationship, more than keeping the relationship. Why would we want to keep the relationship if the relationship can only work if we're like all contorted in order to stay in it, right? So that's basically the elements of how we solve this problem of feeling dread discussing sensitive things with our partner. Number one is that we've got to get that inner mooring to a sense of peace inside ourselves. That can shift our priorities. We can be like, oh, that allows you to that opens your eyes naturally to shift your priorities. And it can take some doing to actually experience those priorities shifted. I'm just thinking of myself because, I learned how to feel a connection with divine love energy in the, I would say, early 2000s. And it took me some years before I actually prioritized that, because I had this idea deep in my subconscious that the way I was going to solve my poor self-worth was through a relationship with a guy. And I just believed that that was the way it was going to work. And this feeling divine love energy was cool and it was very important, but that wasn't the solution. The solution to my poor self-worth was to find a guy who was metza on me and change his mind and get him to really want to be with me. Was lodged in my subconscious, and that drove me for a long time in my relationship experiences. And I was kind of like a scientist, actually, because I had the benefit of a very, very strong spiritual framework for understanding the mind. And I was puzzling through my relationship experiences every time I would go in to try to make this work spiritually. I'm going to make my relationship work spiritually. And but of course, I had attracted to myself someone who was a perfect fit for my subconscious wounds, not for my spiritual life. So I was trying to work it out with him, and then crash, boom, it wouldn't work. All kinds of pain. And then I would be like, okay, what did I do wrong? And I'd go back to the books and I'd take my spiritual framework out and I'd figure out what I did wrong. I was going to take total responsibility total responsibility for it myself. And I learned a lot from doing that. But in the end, I realized that my idea of relationship as my salvation and what that looked like to be with a man in a way that was so beautiful and so fulfilling that it would heal my self-worth, I saw that that would never, ever work. There was a fatal flaw. And that fatal flaw was the fact that I was looking away from my inner core. So it took me some sweat and tears to actually emotionally arrive at the realization that the love that I was looking for was inside my heart. Intellectually, I arrived at that in the early 2000s, but it took me a number of years. And I don't feel like saying how many years right now. I should just tell you. It took me 17 years. It took me 17 years to puzzle through my stubborn optimism that my idea of love, my false idea of love, would work. And I finally realized that there was a fatal flaw. And the fatal flaw was that I was overlooking my spiritual heart. And I felt overlooked. And I was like, duh. Suddenly I was like, duh. I feel overlooked because I'm overlooking myself. And so I then, at that point, I had to learn a whole new way, a whole new set of relationship skills, a whole new way to be in relationship. And I'm so glad I did, because I'm happy. I experience more intimacy with the people that I love, intimacy of souls on a journey together, growing, and then more intimacy and peacefulness and harmony with the man that I attracted into my life in a romantic capacity. So it's really worth it. It's really, really worth it to do the work inside ourselves to rebalance and realize, come to the deep intellectual and emotional realization in our soul and mind that the true source of peace comes from our heart open in connection and communication with divine love. And I want to share more about what that's like, but I'm going to save it for my next video. But anyway, so when we're experiencing dread bringing up a sensitive topic with our partner, that is showing us that we are out of balance in our priorities about where peace and love comes from. And then just getting back to the emotional safety, when we do feel a deeper connection with peace and love inside our being through connecting with divine love, that gives us a stable ground on which to engage in conversation in a way that we experience emotional safety, even if our partner acts out emotionally. Because when we actually hold our inner mooring in that place, it creates this sanctuary inside that no one else can touch. And we can look at our partner acting out emotionally and throwing us little emotional torpedoes wrapped in their words. And we can be like, yo, bro, what are you doing that for? So that's really the key to emotional safety, whether your partner is ready to join you in gentleness or not. So I'm going to pause there. There are so many things to talk about in relationship, like, you know, who we attract to ourselves, and if they continue to be ungentle, even when we are gentle, do we really want to be in a relationship with them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we can only talk about so many things in one day, right? So we'll pause there. Yeah. So if you are needing support in how to connect with that inner mooring of an inner connection with divine love, then send me a note and I will hook you up with some free resources to help you start to open or deepen that inner connection. You can send me the message, divine love connection. Send me the words divine love connection in a DM, and I will connect you with some free resources to help you develop that deeper. Okay. Have a great day.